Rob pitched me that idea for that episode, and that was the first thing I said. Oh, cool, we're doing Milton, you know. So, and it was a mythology we really hadn't dealt with that much. The idea of a heaven and angels, and we ended up dealing with it more as the series went on. But that was the first time we really went into that particular mythology of a heaven and a hell. And the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to ultimately resolve the Callisto issue, because I did think that if, Xena spent, one of the themes of the series was Xena trying to make up for the wrongs she did in the past. And in the past, in the past of the series, and earlier in the series, she had done much good, but she could never really take the pain away from those people whose lives she ruined in her dark past. The one case of that we dramatized throughout the series was Callisto. She created the monster Callisto is by burning her village down. And so this was an opportunity to give closure to that for both Xena and Callisto. And I liked Callisto ultimately losing that dark side. I know some people didn't.
I promised to deliver you to my lord, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
It was great to be a demon. I really liked it. I wasn't crazy about getting up at 4 in the morning to put makeup on for 3 hours. That part is really fun the first time you do it and see what you can turn into. And then after that, it's really not so much fun. Then you just kind of want it to be over. Plus the hour that it takes for them to remove the makeup from you. I did get to do some harness work, but I like doing harness work. It wasn't at all a chore. It's fun. You're flying. It's maybe a little hard if they keep you up there for a long time and you have to go to the bathroom. That's like the only downside to it. Otherwise, you're flying. The fingernails were fine that I worked with. They were just, they would fall off actually a great deal, so they weren't glued on really tight. So they were nothing, but I loved all of that. I had hoofs, and I had claws and big, huge, kind of flesh-like wings and 4 horns, and my whole skin was like snake-skinned, shimmering snake skin. It was well done. I was not CGI'd for the wings. The wings were real. They were heavy, and 2 people would have to hold, 1 on each end would have to hold them. And it was hard because I couldn't move them myself, but I have my own idea. I mean, this is an extension of my character, so I would want them to do certain things. Like when I scratched, I'd be like, okay, you have to like a dog, I want it to like move really quickly and rapidly. And it was hard to get 2 other people to follow my movements of what I wanted. That part I remember being frustrating for me because I wanted to do it. I wanted to have that freedom to be able to like bring it in, bring it around. But really it was just, you're just stuck there. You can't really walk without these people, and they were very heavy. They were very heavy.
Fallen Angel was maybe the 2nd or 3rd episode that I had to design after I came on at the beginning of season 4, and it was quite a big costuming episode. We were moved out of Xena world into heaven and hell, and there were a lot of practical requirements of that episode which dictated, which was, I had to start with those practical requirements and build a costume around them, if you like. So we had the wings, which were on a body harness. The wings were really heavy, and so they had a really substantial harness to hold them on, and also a lot of those characters were flying as well, so they had flying harnesses. Yeah, the challenge was to to provide a form-fitting costume that incorporated the bulk of the harnesses. So I first looked at medieval paintings, and from there we sort of evolved the look of the angels, which were gold and white, and the demons were kind of, I guess with the demons I probably started with the wings, which we didn't design, but they were very kind of fleshy and dark, and so the armour that the demons wore was very tarnished, and we used russet leather that was sort of dyed in the sort of dark fleshy colours as well. Yeah, so it was an interesting episode to find the lightness of an angel, but also be able to, on a practical level, incorporate, all this hardware that everyone had to wear at the same time.
Now, I was on set when those actresses were all in their demon outfits. It was so strange to talk to them. It was so bizarre. Particularly, I remember Hudson. Leaning over to talk to Hudson which had that prosthetic on, and they did such a great job with the prosthetics. It was like I was talking to a demon. It was impossible to look at them without thinking of them as evil.
My. Aren't you the brave one?
Yeah, I think if I really think about the character Callisto from like a mental point of view, I think it would be more interesting to think that she didn't come from an ugliness inside her already there. I think it's more interesting to think of her as like just a regular human being, and we all have ugliness inside of us, we just do. And then when something so horrific happened to her family that she had no control over, being a young girl, the only way she could gain her control back was to become the evil itself that destroyed the family. So that way she was no longer out of control but in power.
Callisto. When Xena burned your family, did you see them on fire? Did you smell their flesh sizzling?
You know what I think? You wanted them to die so you'd have a reason to be a bitch.
When Xena took away Callisto's pain, when Callisto was the demon and Xena was the archangel, I thought that was beautiful. I thought it was absolutely beautiful moment. And I believe Lucy was pregnant at the time, and she looked so beautiful. Like she looked stunning, and she cried. She had tears running down her face when she touched my chest because of the empathy and the compassion that her character felt for the pain that my character was in to become that ugly. And I don't know who wrote that. Did RJ write that? Yeah, see, that makes sense. That makes total sense that he would write that, because that's big. And that's a comic book version, but I think as human beings, we can do that for each other.
Xena, I think, had such strength, such inner strength of who she was, that no matter what, whether it's the Furies, whether it's this new demon Xena, there's still Xena inside of her. There's still a trace of Xena there. Gabrielle, perhaps being a little more passionate, a little more of an explorer, perhaps is more likely to, when she's a demon, she's totally a demon. But Xena does have always once in the pilot that she decided to be a hero, there's a little bit of that hero in her, no matter whether she's being driven crazy by the Furies or whether she's a demon in hell.
When I was in demon makeup, I loved it. I loved it, because it's like Halloween. It's just fun. Anything different. And I've always wanted to play, actually, a vampire, if anything. And that was probably the closest I came to something creepy crawly on the other side. I mean, Callisto definitely was creepy crawly, even not in the demon makeup, but yeah, it's more like a gargoyle, more lizardy, it's just more to play with, more to do. I loved it.
That was the first time, I think, that I had costumed Callisto, and she was known in her signature costume. So for me, I had to create 2 costumes for her. One of them was the demon, which was, you know, in the style of the other demon costumes. And then the other one was when she became an angel, which was really a moment that we wanted to, we wanted her to have that moment of beauty and lightness. So we hand-painted very light silk gauze, which we made her dress out of, and then her bodice was, I think this was in reference to the medieval paintings that I've been looking at. It was it was gold, but very heavily sewn, so that it, you know, had a very metallic feel to it. And yeah, that was a very sort of fitting bodice as well. So yeah, it was nice to see her go from those extremes of being the demon and to be an angel.
The angel, when I played the angel, it was difficult to play an angel. I would do it very differently now if I could redo it. At the time, my idea of an angel was something perfect, but what is interesting about something perfect, for one thing, and how do you play perfect? Like, what is perfect? Someone that's so good, and it was so foreign to play such a good character. It was a bigger challenge. Callisto came easy. Callisto was play. There was not a lot of play for me playing the angel. It felt flat, and it made me feel like my character was not intelligent. But all said, and that wasn't the writing, that was just how I felt playing it. All said, I think the premise of being able to be redeemed, I love. I love the idea of, from anywhere we go as human beings, we can forgive ourselves and find our own love. And I like that. I mean, I more than like that. I think that's brilliantly done.